In 2001, my mom bought this Honda Accord brand new from the dealership. In fact, it was in September of 2001, and the sale had to be delayed by several days because of September 11th. This car has history. I went to prom in this both years. I learned to drive in this. I took my driver's test in this car. After 18 years of dailying it herself, it's now mine. And I get to enjoy it for, maybe 18 years, we'll see. It's my new car. Picture yourself in the year 2001. You are a middle-class family somewhere in the United States. What car do you buy? A 2001 Honda Accord. They made a gajillion of these things. They're everywhere. You see them all the time. And yet, this one is special because it has been meticulously maintained its entire life. I've owned this for 6 months now, and it still only has 101,000 miles on the clock. That is incredible for a 19-year-old car that's been daily driven almost its entire life. My mom kept it in her garage every day. She would drive it to work, and yes, it did sit outside while she was at work, boo-hoo, but overall, this thing is immaculate. The passenger seat barely looks like anybody sat in it. The rear seats are in incredible shape considering they were full of 2 children for most of their lives. And the exterior, it did get hit and run twice, so there's a couple small scuffs on the bumper. There's a little bit of a dent in one of the doors from where someone door dinged it. I think there's a small dent on one of the front fenders. But overall, it's in amazing shape. This car is not worthless, but it has very little market value. Nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, I know, I'm going to go find a 2001 Honda Accord to buy for myself. That'll be a lot of fun. It's just not something people are seeking after. So because of that, this thing is only worth like $2,000. And for $2,000, this is a lot of car. Yes, it's kind of slow and underpowered. Yes, it's kind of loud and sounds a little teeny from the inside. Yes, it's not super exciting styling. Yes, there's 16 different colors of beige in front of me right now as I'm driving down the road. But none of that matters because this is not only a running and driving car for $2,000, it's comfortable. It's far more than good enough. That kind of is the story of this car. It's not great at anything, but it's good enough at everything. It has a good enough amount of room for you and 3 to 4 of your sorority sisters. It has a good enough amount of cargo space to carry a lot of groceries or several golf bags. It has a good enough amount of power to not be dangerous on most roads. It's just good at everything. Another thing about this car that I have actually really appreciated is its transmission. Now, it's only a 4-speed auto with overdrive, but it does have the smoothest shifts of any economy transmission that I have felt in a long time. It is buttery smooth at any throttle input, which is fantastic. Even when you put your foot down and it kicks down, it does it very lightly. And then the engine makes a lot more noise and you don't really go anywhere, but that's besides the point. It's very comfortable. It's very easy to drive. I'm here to confirm for you, this is not a car for enthusiasts, but it is a car for people that want a very good car to get them around from A to B every day without fail. The plan was for me to drive this all through medical school because it's a cheap, economical car that gets good gas mileage. I know its service history and I know it's not going to need anything major coming up. It's just a great little car for someone that needs something to get them from A to B, that doesn't drive very much and just needs a reliable car to use while they're in school. However, another car sort of fell into my lap and I really couldn't ignore it. This is my new to me 2001 BMW 540i M Sport Edition. It has a 4.4-liter V8 engine in the front, a 6-speed Getrag manual transmission in the middle, and sends all of its power to 1, sometimes 2 wheels in the back. And that is quite a recipe. I loved my Lexus. I loved almost everything about it. I was getting really bored of driving an automatic transmission. I don't drive that much anymore, but when I do, it's kind of nice to have something to do. Driving an automatic is fine, and for people that prefer automatics, great. I have nothing against that. It's just not for me. The Accord was a nice car. It's fine. There's nothing special about it, but there's nothing bad about it either. But I really was missing having a manual transmission. When I found this, I wasn't looking for one of these cars. I wasn't actually looking to buy a car at all. Ryan had been at the St. Vincent de Paul car lot in Eugene a few days earlier and had seen some type of manual Lexus. I don't remember what it was. It's not really important. But John and I needed something to do. We were kind of bored. Sam wanted us out of the house. I mean, I wasn't really going to buy a car. I was just kind of curious, and we needed something to do. On the way, John called his uncle, who is a regional manager for St. Vincent de Paul, who tells us that, yeah, that Lexus is there, but there's also this BMW sitting in the parking lot with a V8 and a manual transmission, which got us interested. So we show up, we test drive it, everything seems great. When we looked at it, it was immediately clear that it had been owned by somebody who took immaculate care of it. The tires were almost brand new. They weren't super expensive, but they were new. There was a brand new battery that was less than a year old in the trunk from the BMW dealership. Those things are worth their weight in frankincense, and someone had gone out of their way to buy that instead of a cheap Interstate or something else. After the test drive, I thought it over for about a day, but really didn't need very much convincing because I bought this car for $3,000. That is hard to argue with. My Lexus LS 400 with way more miles was $5,000. My mom's Accord, a 2001 Honda Accord, same year, these cars were on the market at the same time. I paid $2,000 for that, which was basically a fair market value. So for $3,000, this is the bargain of the century. This is by far the most comfortable car I've ever owned. It's the quietest. It doesn't get the best gas mileage, but it does have the most horsepower and the most torque of anything I've ever owned. It's a lot faster than the Lexus was, and it handles better. It just feels planted to the road. Now, this is by no means a sports car. It is a big, heavy sedan. But that's really the recipe that I like. Big power, manual transmission, rear-wheel drive, 4 doors, and a body that is nice and well-styled, but doesn't shout, "Look at me, look at me!" It doesn't need attention. That is really what I'm looking for in a car. And as far as I can tell, BMW is one of the only manufacturers that follows that recipe. And boy, did they execute well with this one. So all in all, I could not be happier with this purchase. It's been a great car to replace the Lexus with. I still have the Accord as a backup car because, let's face it, this is a BMW. When you buy that Roundel, you are buying into something that could just explode at any minute, and who knows what's going to break. But I still have the Accord as a backup, and in the meantime, this is just a fantastic car to drive. Most of the driving that I do now is between Yakima, where I live, and Eugene to come back and see family and friends. It's a lot of highway cruising, and man, does this thing eat up highway miles. What am I going to do with it? I'm probably going to autocross it every once in a while. I got a screaming deal on some 360 treadwear tires that are going to be great summer tires for me, and I won't feel bad autocrossing on them because they were pretty inexpensive. I think my main plan is to keep this as stock as I possibly can, keep it in as good a shape as I possibly can, fix every problem that comes up with it just because I don't want things to snowball and get out of control like they did with the Lexus, and just drive the hell out of it and enjoy it. This is an awful lot of car for $3,000, and I cannot wait to see where I am with it